A pleasant morning to all of you. We are pleased to welcome you all in the virtual literary and multimedia events of the junior and senior high school. Let's pause in silence for our opening prayer to be followed by the singing of the Philippine National Anthem, Tayo ay Dabawenyo and JMC hymn respectively.
Heavenly Father, we praise and thank you for this beautiful day, for giving us the opportunity to showcase our talents and skills in the Intramurals 2022. May you give us the spirit of camaraderie and sportsmanship together with our fellow JMarians and realize that without you, this talent is nothing. We offer you all our victories and successes. In the mighty name of Jesus Christ, the Son. Amen.
Sa We have the honor to introduce to you the Board of Judges for today's events.
The first judge is a graduate of Bachelor of Science in Biology at the University of Southeastern Philippines. She finished her master's degree on early childhood education at Southwestern University. She was the grade school principal of Jose Maria College from 2011 to 2013. She was active in theater arts and was able to train many students in various competitions. She is a part-time anchor of the Kingdom's Sunshine Media Network International and the department head of the Kingdom Children Growth School. A round of applause to Ms. Maritoni L. Saberon. The second judge is a graduate of Bachelor of Arts in Mass Communication at the Jose Maria College in 2011. She is a news writer and staff of the Sunshine Media Network International. She creates news stories for TV broadcast locally, nationally, and internationally. With the goal of keeping the public updated, she carefully researches articles and analyzes on current happenings. Aside from that, she has been a staff in the production department whenever there is a live coverage of SMNI exclusive, Give Us This Day, and Sounds of Worship. Without further ado, let's welcome Miss Christy Casilagan. The third judge was a graduate of Bachelor of Secondary Education, major in English at the Central Mindanao Colleges. She took up Doctor of Philosophy in Education and finished her degree at the University of Immaculate Conception last year. She was the principal of the Integrated Basic Education Department from 2013 to 2018. She was the Vice President for Academic Affairs in this institution from 2018 to 2021. She is currently the Vice President for Research Development and Quality Assurance and the chair of the upcoming accreditation of all programs in this institution. A round of applause to Dr. Josefina D. Arteaga.
Alright, I know you are so excited to witness the JMarians' talents. But before that, let me read to you the competitive rules for the mechanics and criteria for the respective events.
Here are the mechanics for oration. The contest is exclusive for Category B, grades 4 to 6, and Category C, grades 7 to 10. There should be one participant per level. Contestants should wear proper attire or costume. There is only one contest piece for the event. Upon the submission of the results, judges' decision shall be considered final and irrevocable. Criteria: language, 20 points; delivery, 40 points; confidence, 15 points; overall performance, 25 points, and that's a total of 100%. Here are the mechanics for extemporaneous speaking. The contest is exclusive for Category B, grades 4 to 6, and Category C, grades 7 to 10. There should be one participant per level. Contestants should wear proper attire or costume. Upon submission of the results to the committee, judges' decision shall be considered final and irrevocable. Criteria: organization, 20 points; delivery, 25 points; language, 20 points; content, 35 points. That's a total of 100%.
Education is the key to personal development and the future of societies. It unlocks opportunities and narrows inequalities. It is the bedrock of informed, tolerant societies and a primary driver of sustainable development. The COVID-19 pandemic has led to the largest disruption of education ever. In mid-July, schools were closed in more than 160 countries, affecting over 1 billion students. At least 40 million children worldwide have missed out on education in their critical preschool year, and parents, especially women, have been forced to assume heavy care burdens in the home. Despite the delivery of lessons by radio, television, and online, and the best efforts of teachers and parents, many students remain out of reach. Learners with disabilities, those in minority or disadvantaged communities, displaced and refugee students, and those in remote areas are at the highest risk of being left behind. And even for those who can access distance learning, success depends on their living conditions, including the fair distribution of domestic duties. We already faced a learning crisis before the pandemic. More than 250 million school-aged children were out of school, and only a quarter of secondary school children in developing countries were leaving school with basic skills. Now, we face a generational catastrophe that could waste untold human potential, undermine decades of progress, and exacerbate entrenched inequalities. We are at a defining moment for the world's children and young people. The decisions that the governments and partners take now will have lasting impact on hundreds of millions of young people and on the development prospects of countries for decades to come. This policy brief calls for action in 4 key areas. First, reopening schools. Once local transmission of COVID-19 is under control, getting students back into schools and learning institutions as safely as possible must be a top priority. We have issued guidance to help governments in this complex endeavor. It will be essential to balance health risks against risks to children's education and protection, and to factor in the impact on women's labor force participation. Consultation with parents, careers, teachers, and young people is fundamental. Second, prioritizing education and financing decisions. Before the crisis hit, low and middle income countries already face an education funding gap of $1.5 trillion a year. This gap has now grown. Education budgets need to be protected and increased, and it is critical that education is at the heart of international solidarity efforts, from debt management and stimulus packages to global humanitarian appeals and official development assistance. Third, targeting the hardest to reach. Education initiatives must seek to reach those at greatest risk of being left behind. People in emergencies and crisis, minority groups of all kinds, displaced people, and those with disabilities. They should be sensitive to the specific challenges faced by girls, boys, women, and men, and should urgently seek to bridge the digital divide. Fourth, the future of education is here. We have a generational opportunity to reimagine education. We can take a leap towards forward-looking systems that deliver quality education for all as a springboard for the Sustainable Development Goals. To achieve this, we need investment in digital literacy and infrastructure, an evolution towards learning how to learn, a rejuvenation of lifelong learning and strengthening links between formal and informal education. And we need to draw on flexible delivery methods, digital technologies, and modernized curricula while ensuring sustained support for teachers and communities. As the world faces unsustainable levels of inequality, we need education, the great equalizer, more than ever. We must take bold steps now to create inclusive, resilient, quality education systems fit for the future.
The future of education is here. Education. It is the key to personal development and the future of societies. It unlocks opportunities and it narrows inequalities. It is the bedrock of informed, tolerant societies and is a primary driver of sustainable development. The COVID-19 pandemic has led to the largest disruption of education ever. In mid-July, schools were closed in more than 160 countries, affecting over 1 billion students. And at least 40 million children worldwide have missed out on their education in their critical preschool year. And parents, especially women, have been forced to assume heavy care burdens in their home. Despite the delivery of lessons by radio, television, and online, and the best efforts of our teachers and parents, many students remain out of reach. Learners with disabilities, those in minority, or disadvantaged communities, displaced and refugee students, and those in remote areas are at highest risk of being left behind. And even for those who can access distance learning, their success depends on their living conditions, including the fair distribution of domestic duties. We already faced a learning crisis even before the pandemic. More than 250 million school-aged children were out of school, and only a quarter of secondary school children in developing countries were leaving school with basic skills. Now, we face a generational catastrophe that could waste untold human potential and undermine decades of progress and exacerbate entrenched inequalities. We are at a defining moment for the world's children and young people. The decisions that governments and our partners will take now will have lasting impacts on hundreds of millions of young people and on development prospects of countries for decades to come. This policy brief calls for action in 4 key areas. First, reopening schools. Once local transmission of COVID-19 is under control, getting students back into schools and learning institutions as safely as possible will be a top priority. We have issued guidance to help governments in this complex endeavor. It will be essential to balance health risks against risks in children's protection and education, and to factor in the impact on women's labor force participation. Consultation with parents, teachers, carers, and young people is fundamental. Second, prioritizing education in financing decisions. Before the crisis hit, low and middle income countries already faced an education funding gap of $1.5 trillion a year. This gap has now grown. Education budgets need to be protected and increased. And it is critical that education is at the heart of international solidarity efforts. From debt management and stimulus packages to global humanitarian appeals and official development assistance. Third, targeting the hardest to reach. Education initiatives must seek to reach those in the greatest risks of being left behind. People in emergencies and people in crisis. Minority groups of all kinds. Displaced people and those with disabilities. Third, targeting the hardest to reach. Education initiatives must seek to reach those in greatest risk of being left behind, like people in emergencies, people in crisis, minority groups of all kinds, displaced people, and those with disabilities. They should be sensitive to the specific challenges faced by girls, boys, women, and men, and should urgently seek to bridge the digital divide. Fourth, the future of education is here. We have generational opportunities to reimagine education. We can take a leap towards forward-looking systems that deliver quality education for all as a springboard for the Sustainable Development Goals. To achieve this, we need investment in digital literacy and infrastructure, an evolution towards learning how to learn, a rejuvenation of lifelong learning, and strengthened links between formal and non-formal education. And we need to draw on flexible delivery methods, digital technologies, and modernized curricula, while ensuring sustained support for teachers and communities. As the world faces unsustained levels of inequality, we need education, the great equalizer, more than ever. We must take bold steps now to create inclusive, resilient, and quality education systems fit for our future.
The future of education is here. Education is the key to personal development and the future of societies. It unlocks opportunities and narrows inequalities. It is the bedrock of informed, tolerant societies and the primary driver of sustainable development. The COVID-19 pandemic has led to the largest disruption of education ever. In mid-July, schools were closed in more than 160 countries, affecting over 1 billion students. At least 40 million children worldwide have missed out on education in their critical preschool year. And parents, especially women, have been forced to assume heavy care burdens in the home. Despite the delivery of lessons by radio, television, and online, and the best efforts of teachers and parents, many students remain out of reach. Learners with disabilities, those in minority or disadvantaged communities, displaced and refugee students, and those in remote areas are at highest risk of being left behind. And even for those who can access distance learning, success depends on their living conditions, including the fair distribution of domestic duties. We already faced a learning crisis before the pandemic. More than 250 million school-aged children were out of school, and only a quarter of secondary school children in developing countries were leaving school with basic skills. Now, we face a generational catastrophe that could waste untold human potential, undermine decades of progress, and exacerbate entrenched inequalities. We are at a defining moment for the world's children and young people. The decisions that governments and partners take now will have a lasting impact on hundreds of millions of young people and on the development prospects of countries for decades to come. This policy brief calls for action in 4 key areas. First, reopening schools. Once local transmission of COVID-19 is under control, getting students back into schools and learning institutions as safely as possible must be a top priority. We have issued guidance to help governments in this complex endeavor. It will be essential to balance health risks against risks to children's education and protection, and to factor
in the impact on women's labor force participation. Consultation with parents, carers, teachers, and young people is fundamental. Second, prioritizing education and financing decisions. Before the crisis hit, low and middle income countries already faced an education funding gap of $1.5 trillion a year. This gap has now grown. Education budgets need to be protected and increased. And it is critical that education is at the heart of international solidarity efforts, from debt management and stimulus packages to global humanitarian appeals and official development assistance. Third, targeting the hardest to reach. Education initiatives must seek to reach those at greatest risk of being left behind. People in emergencies and crisis, minority groups of all kinds, displaced people, and those with disabilities. They should be sensitive to the specific challenges faced by girls, boys, women, and men, and should urgently seek to bridge the digital divide. Fourth, the future of education is here. We have a generational opportunity to reimagine education. We can take a leap towards forward-looking systems that deliver quality educations for all as a springboard for the Sustainable Development Goals. To achieve this, we need investment in digital literacy and infrastructure, an evolution towards learning how to learn, a rejuvenation of lifelong learning, and strengthened links between formal and non-formal education. And we need to draw on flexible delivery methods, digital technologies, and modernized curricula, while ensuring sustained support for teachers and communities. As the world faces unsustainable levels of inequality, we need education, the great equalizer, more than ever. We must take bold steps now to create inclusive, resilient, quality education systems fit for the future.
The future of education is here. Education is the key to personal development and the future of societies. It unlocks opportunities and narrows down inequalities. It is the bedrock of informed and tolerant societies and a primary driver of sustainable development. The COVID-19 pandemic has led to the largest disruption of education ever. In mid-July, schools were closed in more than 160 countries, affecting over 1 billion students. At least 14 million children worldwide have missed out on education in their critical preschool year. And parents, especially women, have been forced to assume heavy care burdens in the home. And despite the delivery of lessons by radio, television, and online, and the best efforts of teachers and parents, many students remain out of reach. Learners with disabilities, those in minority or disadvantaged communities, displaced and refugee students, and those in remote areas are at highest risk of being left behind. And even for those who can access distance learning, success depends on their living conditions, including the fair distribution of domestic duties. We already faced a learning crisis before the pandemic. More than 250 million school-aged children were out of school, and only a quarter of secondary school children in developing countries were leaving school with basic skills. Now, we face a generational catastrophe that could waste untold human potential, undermine decades of progress, and exacerbate entrenched inequalities. We are at a defining moment for the world's children and young people. The decisions that governments and partners take now will have lasting impact of hundreds of millions of young people and on the development prospects of countries for decades to come. This policy brief calls for action in 4 key areas. First, reopening schools. Once local transmission of COVID-19 is under control, getting students back into schools and learning institutions as safely as possible must be a top priority. We have issued guidance to help governments in this complex endeavor. It will be essential to balance health risks against risks to children's education and protection, and to factor in the impact on women's labor force participation. Consultation with parents, carers, teachers, and young people is fundamental. Second, prioritizing education in financing decisions. Before the crisis hit, low and middle income countries already faced an education funding gap of $1.5 trillion a year. This gap has now grown. Education budgets need to be protected and increased. And it is critical that education is at the heart of international solidarity efforts, from debt management and stimulus packages to global humanitarian appeals and official development assistance. Third, targeting the hardest to reach. Education initiatives must seek to reach those at greatest risk of being left behind. People in emergencies and crisis, minority groups of all kinds, displaced people, and those with disabilities. They should be sensitive to the specific challenges faced by girls, boys, women, and men, and should urgently seek to bridge the digital divide. Fourth, the future of education is here. We have a generational opportunity to reimagine education. We can take a leap towards forward-looking systems that deliver quality education for all, as a springboard for the Sustainable Development Goals. To achieve this, we need investments in digital literacy and infrastructure, an evolution towards learning how to learn, a rejuvenation of lifelong learning, and strengthened links between formal and non-formal education. We need to draw on flexible delivery methods, digital technologies, and modernized curricula, while ensuring sustained support for teachers and communities. As the world faces unsustainable levels of inequality, we need education, the great equalizer, more than ever. We must take bold steps now to create inclusive, resilient, quality education systems fit for the future. Thank you.
Good day, JMarians. Witness an array of scintillating wit as your fellow JMarians respond to timely and thought-provoking questions in this year's Extemporaneous Speaking competition. Joining us today are 3 students from the junior high school level. Contestant 1, we have Nobriza Malain Cortez. Contestant 2, we have Rojaima de Rogongan. And lastly, contestant 3, we have Adriel Biol. Good day, contestants. You will be asked to choose a number from 1 to 4. Each number corresponds to a question. The host will read to you your questions twice. Afterwards, you will be given 3 minutes to prepare your speech and 5 minutes to deliver it. When you hear the bell, it means your time for preparation is over. You should begin your speech. Lastly, when you hear the second bell, it means that your 5 minutes is over. First contestant, please pick a number from 1 to 4.
I pick number 4.
Okay, number 4. Here is your question. What is empathy and how important is it in this time of war and pandemic? What is empathy and how important is it in this time of war and pandemic? Your timer starts now.
Empathy is the medicine that the world needs. taught by Judith Orloff. Good day, everyone. I am Marisa Malanan Cortez, the grade 8 representative for Extemporaneous speaking. Have you felt sad when your friend was ranting about how he or she was heartbroken? Or have you ever felt happy because of other people's success? Then if yes, you are able to empathize with them. But first, what is empathy? And it's kind of similar to sympathy, but they are two different things. They might be similar, but they're not totally the same. Empathy is being able to understand the feelings or emotions of other people by putting yourself in their shoes, while sympathy is being able to understand the emotions and feelings of other people from your own perspective. Now, how important is empathy in this time of war and pandemic? For war, I believe that empathy can be used to prevent it. Instead of resulting or using violence, maybe nations at war would try to empathize with the enemy nation. Instead of using violence, maybe they should try putting themselves in the enemy nation's shoes and maybe try to understand and think about why are they doing this, why are they planning to do this, why are they being like this. Maybe if they try to understand the feelings or the point of view of their enemy nation, maybe they could develop ways or talk it out instead of resorting to violence. As for the pandemic, I believe that the development of the vaccines and the medicines is because of empathy. Maybe the people who are well off were able to empathize with the economically challenged people. They developed ways in order to relieve their suffering. They were able to create the medicines and the vaccines, so the economically challenged people would not suffer that much, and the pandemic will now end. To conclude, empathy can resolve conflict, reduce violence, and be able to promote mutual understanding. And empathy can also be used to make the world a better place. Once again, I am Marisa Malanan Cortez, the grade 8 representative for Extemporaneous speaking. Thank you for listening.
Okay, second contestant, please pick a number from 1 to 3.
I pick number 2 po.
Okay, so number 2, here is your question. Why should schools continue to promote hybrid or blended learning after the pandemic? Again, why should schools continue to promote hybrid or blended learning after the pandemic? Your timer starts now.
like this setup. I get to manage my time better. I can do other things in the daytime other than doing my schoolworks. A comment about hybrid or blended learning from one of my beloved classmates. Greetings to everyone. I am Rohaima Ambiragongan representing the grade 9 level. Why should schools continue to promote hybrid or blended learning after the pandemic? First, because people come from all over the world. A lot of people have immigrated and changed their residences. So if we discontinue hybrid or blended learning, it will be hard for them to change and adjust their locations accordingly to their schools. People from one country may find interest in another country. For example, Koreans may find interest in the Philippines and the culture, traditions, the language, and the people living in it. So with this type of learning, they can easily have access to classes discussing these topics even while residing in their native countries. Second, because people want to make sure face-to-face classes are safe. A lot of people are doubting whether face-to-face classes are really safe. Because as I am sure, the virus has not completely vanished from this world. People just choose to go on with their lives even with the risks of getting infected. But some people are not like that. Some people are not willing to take the risk because after all, it is our lives that are at stake here. So they choose to observe first and make sure that face-to-face classes are really safe. Third, with this type of learning, our lives will still continue. Our lives do not entirely revolve around our studies. There are a lot of people working, a lot of students working, making it hard for them to manage their time. But with this type of learning, they can easily allot a portion of their time to answering their activities, performing their tasks. Unlike face-to-face classes, less time is consumed by this type of learning by hybrid or blended learning. We get to save our time commuting from one place to another to our schools because we just stay at home when having our classes. And if something comes up for our teachers and they decide to not conduct their classes, we can easily do other things other than sulk in the corners of our classrooms. So to conclude, I have enumerated 3 reasons why schools should continue to promote hybrid or blended learning after the pandemic. 1. Because people may live far away from their schools, countries away, maybe even continents away. 2. Because people want to make sure face-to-face classes are really safe. And lastly, 3. Because people's lives will still continue. Let us remember that each and every one of us have different situations. So let us try to recognize and acknowledge each one to help make everyone's lives easier and more bearable. That would be all. Thank you.
Third contestant, please pick a number between 1 and 3. Again, third contestant, please pick a number between 1 and 3.
I'd like to pick number 1 po, ma'am.
Okay, number 1, here is your question. What will happen to third world countries if the conflict between Russia and Ukraine escalates? Again, what will happen to third world countries if the conflict between Russia and Ukraine escalates? Your timer starts now.
War is a conflict of ideals between two nations. But just because it's a conflict between two nations, it doesn't mean it doesn't affect its surroundings. Good day, everybody. I am Adriel B. Biol, the Great Ten representative for Extemporaneous speaking. I have been asked, what is the effects of war? The Russian-Ukraine war, it belongs to third world countries. And these three are my points. Number one, it would affect our international relations. We have seen President Duterte go to both Russia and Ukraine. It would then conflict where we stand on the world, whether we stand with Russia on its pursuit against Ukraine, or do we stand with US on its pursuit to defend Ukraine. This international relations may seem meager, but it would really affect the fate of our country, whether we stay neutral or join the war. Number two, rising prices. As we all know, in the last few weeks, our gas prices have been rising. And it's no wonder. Most of our gas actually comes from Ukraine, the country that is currently being pursued by Russia. If this war continues, our gas prices would continuously rise until there is no limit, until it would reach the 1,000 peso mark. And also other goods. Although it may not seem like it, we do export or import some goods from Russia. And with those imports gone, you would then have a low supply but high demand. Number three, the scarcity of resources. Even if we stay neutral in war, we would then be forced to take in refugees from Ukraine. We are in the United Nations, and as a part of the United Nations, we are tasked with helping those in need. And as such, we are tasked with helping the refugees as well. Just because we are neutral doesn't mean we have the duty to help those in need. And such, because of the rising population, there will be a rising demand. And since there's a rising demand, there will be lower resources for everyone to be distributed to. Although war is a conflict between two nations, it still affects its surroundings. Every nation is affected by one war. And it has many effects as well to third world countries, like number one, international relations. Number two, rising prices. And number three, scarcity of resources. Even though we are neutral in this kind of war, we must always remember to help those in need, in our own prayers or in our own donations. Once again, I am Adriel B. Biol, the representative for Grade 10 in Extemporaneous speaking. Thank you very much.
Thank you for the amazing performances. Digital art has become a part of daily life. Despite the rising popularity of digital art and its advantages over traditional art, it is still unclear what the impact digital art has on the job market for artists today. Let's check the mechanics and criteria of digital painting.
Here are the mechanics for digital painting. There shall be 2 participants for each level. Using MS Paint or any application, they shall paint objects related to the theme of the Intramurals week. They shall be given 1 hour to finish the task. After an hour, finished or unfinished, their outputs shall be collected by the teacher in charge. The judge's decision shall be considered final and irrevocable.
We still have one more event for the junior high school, and that is the digital marketing ads. The mechanics for these events are as follows.
These are the mechanics for Marketing Ads Challenge. Number 1. The contest is open to all bona fide students of JMCFI IBED. Number 2. Each team shall have at least one representative composed of 5 members. Number 3. The participating team shall depict the video presentation with the core idea that is to showcase the best features of the institution. Number 4. Each entry is allowed to adapt ideas, concepts, sound recordings, and audiovisual works or other creative elements of intellectual property of a third party by giving credits and courtesy to the proprietor of the said materials. The entry must be 3 to 5 minutes only. Number 5. Each entry must not contain any offensive, inappropriate, disparaging remarks or any content which could adversely affect the name, reputation and goodwill of any person or persons involved in the entry. Number 6. Deadline of submission of entries is on or before April 15, 2022. Number 7. All participants must agree to abide by these rules. Any violation of these rules shall be considered a ground for immediate disqualification and forfeit of their final entry. Number 8. The decision of the panel of judges is final and irrevocable. Here are the criteria for Marketing Ads Challenge. Content 40 points. Technical excellence 35 points. Overall 25 points. A total of 100 points.
One of the most touching features of JMC is that they have the best teachers. They not only teach students but keep students active and agile in both curricular and non-curricular activities, which inspires us JMarians to participate in school events.
quality education. The JMarians College, under the leadership of its founding president, Reverend Dr. Pastor Apollo C. Kibuloy, holds true to its mission to provide quality education amidst the ongoing crisis on COVID-19.
JMC is also committed to becoming a world-class university, producing globally competitive individuals who are adaptive and productive leaders in nation building. Education must go on. That's why your future is our mission. Enroll now in JMC.
JMarians College is a non-sectarian, globally competitive school and is well known for its world-class facilities. JMC ensures to provide assured, consistent, and quality education at the most affordable school fees. Let us take you through the journey of JMC students this school year, 2021 to 2022. It's more fun at JMC. Enroll now at JMC. Here at JMC, we endeavor to express our cultural appreciation during the celebration of Buwan ng Wika. Students from all walks of life, kindergarten to senior high school, Catholic and Muslims alike, display their talent through song, dance, and speech. Throughout these activities, JMarians can freely show their love for our country's culture and language. In JMC, we also hold activities dedicated to the development of sciences, mathematics, and computer studies. These activities allow students to proudly display their abilities in research and innovation. JMarians aspire to use their creativity and intelligence in challenges that test their mind and spirit. Waving colorful banners and weaving cultural glamour, JMarians commemorate our nationality and venerate internationality of the United Nations, promoting peace and harmony amongst ethnicities. Throughout these celebrations, the bonds of all nations grow ever deeper and last ever long.
Ang vision ko sa mga nag-aaral dito ay umangat kayo sa mentalidad ninyo not only to get a career from here or a profession from JMC, but you will also get your true education that will make you a better person because of values.
JMC celebrates not only the birth of Jesus Christ, but also the presence of all our loved ones during our Christmas festivities. We revitalize our hearts as we revel in the festivities of gift-giving, Christmas tree decorating, and of course, Christmas parties. English Month events are also being celebrated at JMC. These events aim to enhance JMarians' language proficiency and celebrate the beauty of an evolving language. The 14th of February burns red with the fires of love as we here at JMC partake in the joys of Valentine's Day. During this day, we express love towards our significant others, families, and friends. We offer flowers, balloons, and chocolates to show our appreciation for the people we hold dear. Our gifted letters contain not only words of admiration, but also our hearts. Come learn with us at Jose Maria College with our dedicated, passionate, and competent teachers, together with our world-class facilities that ensures an assured, consistent, and quality education. What are you waiting for? Enroll now at Jose Maria College.
Truly, JMarians have showcased their creativity in Marketing Ads Challenge. And now, let's proceed to the Senior High School category.
You don't understand. You don't really understand. You didn't have ideas in my life. So can you please stop trying to control me? Stop acting that you really care. Because I'm not a kid anymore. A kid that can easily fall by your words. You don't know what's the feeling of being left behind. You don't know the hardship that I went through. You don't know what's the feeling of being left alone, trying to seek for parents' love. You abandoned me. Okay, you didn't even love me. You only cared for my brothers. Not for me. You have your favorites, and I'm not one of them. Why are you so unfair? I am trying my best in school just to get your attention. Hoping that it will make me feel that I have a mom and a dad that is so proud of me. I did everything I can just to achieve your expectations. Even though I am mentally, physically, and emotionally drained, I keep trying and fighting. Because for me, I think it is the only thing that I can give you in return. Why? Because I'm a loser, and my brothers are the best. I don't have the looks my brothers have. I don't have the fair skin just like what they have. And yes, I am a man of insecurity. Because no one can appreciate me. I am no one's favorite. Now, I am here in the middle of despair, where everything for me is nothing. I think I will be going crazy. I feel like I'm losing my mind. I am now afraid for everyone's eyes. The pain, the tears, the scars, anger, jealousy, and cold were all piling up. And yes, my past, my traumatic past, which also you didn't even know. They hated me and punished me for the mistakes that I didn't even do. They don't love me. They starve me. I even forced myself to eat a rotten food just to solve my hunger. I kept waking up in the middle of the night, crying. All was drenched in tears, hoping that you were there, hugging me so tight to comfort me. But you weren't, because you abandoned me. And now, for how many years of being alone, you suddenly appear here in front of me. For what? Is it because you've seen something in me that you think is very useful for your own interest? Or is it you realize out of nowhere that abandoning me is your greatest mistake in your entire life? Oh, why are you looking at me like that? You feel sorry for me? No. Don't feel sorry. I am not a saint that can easily forgive for what have you done. I hope you didn't give birth to me. I hope you're just no one. I hope you're just strangers. And I wish I was gone for good.
My New Normal by Adam Brandner. I'm not even sure if I can ask you this. I'm too afraid to hear the answer, or I already knew the answer. I just can't accept it. I heard people gossiping about what we talked about last night. I just don't get it. I've known you for years. You know when I'm being serious, right? This wasn't just some little thing that I burdened out to you. This was my life. I needed a friend last night, and I wasn't hesitant to tell you. I trusted you, but why? This would haunt me for the rest of my life. I'll be traumatized by what you did. Don't even apologize. What am I supposed to do now? Should we make it fair? Maybe if I let you experience what you did to me, maybe you can understand how painful it was to be betrayed by your own friend. Should I go around and tell people some things about you? Last summer wasn't your finest summer, so maybe I should make a little casual conversation about it. I'm sure lots of people would love to hear about your underwear incident in 2009. The funny thing is that you would be the first person I would normally call when I feel like this. You used to be that one person who comforts me. You were the only person in my life that stood up for me. Out of all people, it was you who knew me the most. You know my past. You know what I've been through. I remember you beating up a stranger at summer camp that called me stupid. You never even asked for anything in return. And I remember how happy I was to have you as my friend. I'm not perfect. You can call this a mistake and ask me to forgive you. You can hope that time will heal us. I don't know. I just don't know anymore. You might think I'm being dramatic, then maybe I am. Maybe I'm acting crazy. But if you can act crazy in front of your best friend, then who can you act crazy with? You had to put a lot of trust into other people. Trusting that they would stab you from the back. Well, I did. I trusted you. I've been trying to rationalize this all day in my head. Okay, so you told a few people about me. So you laughed with them for a minute. were you going to do when I found out? Did you even consider how I would feel? What if this gets back to my family? What do I do then? I don't even want to think about that day.
Well done, JMarians! For the second event, which is the motivational speech, the mechanics and criteria are as follows. These are the mechanics for motivational speech. Number 1. The competition is open to all bona fide senior high school students of JMCFI. Number 2. There shall be 1 entry per team with 1 participant per entry. Number 3. The speech must be an original piece, not copied from any source on the internet, and must cover the Intramurals theme of the year. Number 4. The speech must be written in English and must be submitted on or before the set deadline of the event in charge for checking and approval before the participant's final video recording. Number 5. Background audio with visual effects and images shall be included in the final video output for creativity. Number 6. Each participant is given a minimum of 2 minutes and a maximum of 3 minutes to deliver his or her piece. Number 7. A deduction of 3 points shall be imposed for every minute overtime and 1 point for every 30-second undertime. Number 8. The speech shall not in whole or in part express or impliedly subvert the principles of democracy, nor offend any religion, sect, or creed, nor violate neither the standard of decency nor laws on libel and oral defamation. Number 9. Each participant must adhere to the technical guidelines mentioned below. Take a close-up video framing the shot from head to waist. Film in portrait and vertical frame. Background must be plain and presentable with no visible clutter. Wear formal attire during the video recording. Speech must be delivered from memory. Film in a quiet place, free from unnecessary background noises. Submit the final output to the event in charge on or before the set deadline for compilation and editing. Number 10. The judge's decision is deemed final and irrevocable. Here are the criteria for motivational speech. Content, 30%. Delivery, 30%. Motivational and digital appeal, 20%. Voter's choice, 20%. A total of 100%.
In the count of 1, I want you to close your eyes. 1. Then imagine that you're in a situation during these times where you have to choose between continuing your career or to drop out of employment. What will you choose? Now open your eyes. What do you choose? To continue despite the difficulties or to drop out because you can't take the pressure anymore? Maybe some of you chose to continue to drop it, or you did not choose it all. Things have drastically changed 2 years ago. At the start of the year, everything was good, but unfortunately, it stopped. Everything that's functioning in the world was stopped by the pandemic, even the schools. The Institute of Education took action, but we have to adjust to learn and deliver the information in a whole different approach. We were put in a difficult situation. But think of this. If the pandemic created an impact in our lives by 180 degrees, how much more can education change it to 360 degrees greater than the pandemic? We can't force the virus to go away. But are we going to over that? No. You can't have that kind of mindset, especially in these times. You know, education is a power that every one of us holds. From the start, we can always hear that education changes things. This new normal can change in an instant. How? Of course, with education. But not just an education. It should be a quality kind of education that has an eye for excellence. You can't say you did great if your work is not excellent. That also applies to education. We can completely create an impact in this new normal if the brand of education that we have is substandard. Moreover, it's not just about the quality. The quality is there, but how about the assurance? Education is there to guarantee that we will learn. And that's where the consistency of education. If there is no regular flow of the assured quality of education, how can we completely create an impact? Consistency is what glues these components together. There is a harmony between these three, a harmony that will transform this new normal. Revolution is not just about overturning rules. It's about making sure that each one of us has the power to change the scenario we are in. That's why with assured, consistent, and quality brand of education, there will be a major shift in our situation. Now it's up to you whether to end this call with the ignorance of knowledge and resolve things with mediocrity or excellence. You have the power in your hands, and no one can take that from you. Because if there's one thing that can switch this world, that is education. That's how great education is in changing things.
I've thought of the future so much to the point it feels like I have outlived the present. So many, it seems I have lived a certain number of lifetimes. When I was in middle school, I was like any kid my age. I didn't want to go to school, but also I had a drive in me to become someone of great renown, to be able to create and start a legacy for myself. And I knew educating myself is the only way to achieve that. So I decided to persevere, and here I am now, a solid proof of my perseverance. Jesme Pasukin, a grade 11 Humanities and Social Sciences student of Jose Maria College. When the COVID-19 affected the Philippines, our government was shoved back into a corner and was forced to take precautions to prevent the spread of the infection. Back then, I was more concerned about the restrictions of the lockdowns and quarantines. I didn't realize soon enough that the new normal learning modalities were more alarming than the rampant COVID-19 cases all over the world. Embracing the new normal learning setup has never been easy. I knew pursuing my studies as a modular or an online student will prove to be a challenging path, but being left behind didn't seem so enticing. So I choose to battle with this new era, or at least that's what I tell myself every waking day. All I know is that I need to attain an assured, consistent, and quality brand of education regardless of the circumstances. At some point, attending classes in my room became alienating and suffocating. It felt like the voices of my teachers and classmates from the speakers of my computer sounded like an echo from underwater. Which is to say, it felt like I was drowning. It felt like I didn't know how to swim. Now I am halfway into the fourth quarter of the second semester, and I suddenly realized that I am already in the new modes of education for 2 years. But this I tell you, my fellow JMarians, I still can't swim that steady. But I have managed to keep afloat and not drown. Those last 2 years helped me to withstand its own recurring challenges, in a way that I wasn't the only one having a hard time adjusting, that our teachers are facing their own difficulties in fulfilling their duties as an educator. It helped to know that we were all in the same sea, hit by the same waves, often swallowed up by the same waters. It assured me that it wasn't me against the world, but us living in the world. In my favorite book written by Charlie Mackesy in 2019 entitled The Horse, the Boy, the Fox, and the Mole, there was a scene wherein the horse and the boy were in the woods. Then the boy said to the horse, "I can't see a way through." And then the horse asked the boy, "Can you see your next step?" And the boy said, "Yeah." And then the horse replied, "Then just take that." Whenever we looked at our goals or tried to measure how long the journey is, we feel overwhelmed. But let me tell you this, my fellow JMarians, that with each step we take, we are getting closer to our goals. We don't have to think about how hard the learning setup is, but let us focus on our next step. It's all about taking that one step. Then we move on to the next one and to the next until we get there. My fellow JMarians, I evoke all of you to keep evolving. Start a revolution that hungers for prosperity by knowing what to do and doing it consistently. We can sail through this new normal, the challenges of education, and we will meet the shore evolved, wiser, stronger, a whole new us, ready to conquer the future.
Survivor. The road to success is not an easy one. It is full of rocky hills and steep mountains. Getting tired and frustrated will call us to quit, but we have to keep going even though we're exhausted. Keep battling even if we're losing. Keep dreaming of the impossible and keep walking even if our feet begin to tremble. We can always take a break, but we should never stop. We've got to always remember that we are authoring our parents' aspirations and dreams. We are the world's future. We are the golden and mighty sword with the power to be a game changer. We will always be put to test physically, psychologically, and emotionally during this pandemic time. We experience burnout and we get depressed from all the stress that feels like it is eating us alive in both body and soul. We all have our breaking points, from our heavy shoulders carrying all the academic weight, from our silent battles, from our midnight breakdowns, from the academic tasks we're trying to achieve, and from all the expectations we're trying to meet. My dear youth, please don't give up. Keep in mind how far you've come. Allow your heart and your mind to relax, but don't lose sight of your goals. This institution has exerted all its capacities with all of its power to encourage us that we can overcome these challenges. The institution has demonstrated a great deal and has never failed to provide a high-quality education, assuring our parents and us that they will always light the torch to guide us in our journey to creating the best versions of ourselves. It paved the road for us to realize our ambitions. JMarians College has never failed to provide a trustworthy, consistent, and high-quality education to all students, even in the midst of pandemic. We are our parents' source of happiness and strength, and the only way we can return the favor of their unconditional love is to make them proud. We are all survivors of our own conflicts, including myself, you, and everyone else. Let us all continue to follow our dreams and be a beacon of light in these dark times. There is always light at the end of every tunnel. I am a survivor.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Erica Maycorna from grade 11 Sapphire from Unit Space Avengers. Revolutionizing in the new normal with an assured, consistent, and quality brand of education. The COVID-19 epidemic, which began in March 2020, has wreaked havoc on all the corners of the world. It has tremendous impact on Filipinos' living conditions, the economy, and most importantly, the education in our country. Many students are forced to engage the new modes of learning to be able to learn new information. As things began to be okay, or should I say, the new normal. As time passed, for us, Filipinos, especially students, to be able to learn more efficiently, we must be able to adjust the new normal. In the mean of adopting, our country must change the new normal by having a comprehensive and high-quality brand of education. Revolutionizing modular learning emphasizes the new technology. We use it to gain information using literary device and help us to use techniques enabled for us to learn new things in different ways. My hope is that our new normal today express what was wrong with our old normal yesterday and set us up for our new normal tomorrow. I think that we can all agree that it was so right through it these years. I can say it is not easy to meet situations so full of uncertainties. The suffering of all Filipinos is heart-wrenching to witness that there are people who weren't able to make a living, to earn income, to feed, and to provide shelters for their family. There are students who are able to adopt the new normal education but are still struggling in different ways on how to learn and gain new information. But in some ways, we manage to survive it all. I am given the voice to speak about this matter, so I am taking these opportunities to encourage my fellow students to always keep on moving and strive harder for a better education quality for all of us. Life is about learning new things in everyday means. The fact that we view educations as the solutions of the thousands of problems that our world faces today speak volume. So let us remind ourselves that education is meant to be our foundation. Thank you.
Heraclitus, a Greek philosopher, is quoted as saying, "Change is the only constant in life." With the recent events, it seems very hard to accept this kind of change. As humans, we are more open to positive changes, inclined to better situations, and hopeful for successes in most of our endeavors. Thus, we were not able to prepare for this pandemic. It cost us so much. It scared us and even traumatized us, robbing us from our freedom physically and financially, affecting our overall health, including our mental state, resulting to economic loss, including loss of jobs, closure of businesses, and most especially, loss of lives. Aside from these, one of the most important things that have been hampered and greatly affected is our educational system. Transitioning to the new normal has been both critical and challenging. Continuous planning, implementation, and monitoring has been made to ensure that the students receive quality education despite remote teaching, a sufficient substitute to learning for the time being, incorporating that we already view as effective and what we foresee as contributory in general. Teaching methods have been diversified to cater students with different learning styles, which are currently facilitated through technology, use of online platforms, apps, games, and etc. While some students may enjoy the accessibility of these materials, families with limited resources resort to traditional learning through modules and downloadable materials, requiring guidance from parents or adults. Imposing and strengthening initiatives on establishing effective methods of teaching to adapt to change, especially in education, requires effort from each and every individual contributing to it and benefiting from it. The government, the teachers, the parents, and the students in this manner. Together and as one, revolutionizing the new normal with assured, consistent, and quality brand of education, with a goal for our students as the key to our future, to continue to learn despite the circumstances, to teach them hope, and to impart more valuable lessons that will prepare them for their lives, teaching them that change may be good or bad, but it is always with a purpose.
The next event is a Marketing Ads Challenge. Let me read you the mechanics and criteria.
These are the mechanics for Marketing Ads Challenge. Number 1. The contest is open to all bona fide students of JMCFI IBED. Number 2. Each team shall have at least one representative composed of 5 members. Number 3. The participating team shall depict the video presentation with the core idea that is to showcase the best features of the institution. Number 4. Each entry is allowed to adapt ideas, concepts, sound recordings, and audiovisual works or other creative elements of intellectual property of a third party by giving credits and courtesy to the proprietor of the said materials. The entry must be 3 to 5 minutes only. Number 5. Each entry must not contain any offensive, inappropriate, disparaging remarks or any content which could adversely affect the name, reputation and goodwill of any person or persons involved in the entry. Number 6. Deadline of submission of entries is on or before April 15, 2022. Number 7. All participants must agree to abide by these rules. Any violation of these rules shall be considered a ground for immediate disqualification and forfeit of their final entry. Number 8. The decision of the panel of judges is final and irrevocable. Here are the criteria for Marketing Ads Challenge. Content 40 points. Technical excellence 35 points. Overall 25 points. A total of 100 points.
Welcome to JMarians College, where learning never stops. You can now easily access JMC through its online school portal. Registration is very easy because JMC offers a straightforward and hassle-free enrollment process along with the rest of the school services. JMarians College provides a digitally redefined classrooms in conducting classes, activities, and any other events. No internet, no problem, because we offer two types of education, either independent learning through modular or online classes. Reading and research are also very convenient because JMC offers a state-of-the-art digital library. JMC revitalizes education through the use of social media. So, we made it easy for you. Get updates, announcements, and information through our official social media page. All these and more, only here at JMarians College.
Life is a journey full of challenges, and sometimes it can be a challenge to make a decision.
To make a new home,
to find the truth,
to make friends, to succeed, to adopt,
to make the world a better place.
Jose Maria College brings you
Assured, consistent, quality education.
Our future is our mission.
Welcome to Jose Maria College.
I am Athea Dallas, your current senior high school SSG treasurer and a student here in JMC for almost 5 years now. JMC is like a second home to me because here, I met new friends that later turned into family. I was able to enhance my skills and talents, and of course, it is both an honor and a privilege to be a part of this academic institution and to experience the assured, consistent, and quality education that the JMC has to offer. And with that, I am proud to say that I am a JMarian and I am loving it.
Hi JMarians! I am Angel Lorraine Maloloyon, a GOA Grade 11 student here in Jose Maria College, currently studying Humanities and Social Sciences. Receiving this scholarship for me is a blessing because this allows me to continue chasing my dreams, and that's why JMC's earnest investment in my future goals will not be forgotten. Here at JMC, I always learn something that challenge my perspectives and enjoy doing so. They help me to improve my skills and talents and of course, to meet new friends. And I can proudly say that this is my second home, and it is a privilege to experience the assured, consistent, and quality education that the Jose Maria College has to offer. With that, I am proud to say that I am a JMarian, and I am loving it.
Despite the rage of this pandemic that definitely changed our lives, Jose Maria College still managed to gear up for the new normal, reassuring to provide excellence in education. The Jose Maria College offers flexible learning with the modalities, online delivery, and modular learning. In spite of the many constraints that makes a flexible learning environment difficult to maintain, Jose Maria College will provide you an education to the highest quality. The administration wishes to support the widest range of teaching methods possible for teachers and students to use, and the teachers are motivated by their desire to give the students the best education they can receive. Jose Maria College fosters a culture of continuous improvement through flexible learning. By providing a learning environment that caters different learning styles, Jose Maria College allows you to pursue the education that best accords with your needs.
Ang vision ko sa mga nag-aaral dito ay umangat kayo sa mentalidad ninyo not only to get a career from here or a profession from JMC, but you will also get your true education that will make you a better person because of values.
In this time of the new normal, amidst the COVID-19 pandemic, JMarians College continues to bring you an assured, consistent, and quality education.
Students from preschool, elementary, high school, and college are all catered by JMarians College, may it be face-to-face or online class.
JMC made sure to bring the best education for every student with the online and modular learning modalities. Facilitated by our outstanding and approachable teachers and other stakeholders, the school's excellent academic instruction, collaborative research endeavors, and meaningful student formation programs are continuously established.
JMC also offers various college courses, including the College of Medicine and College of Law, with a 100% passing rate in its first batch of graduates alone.
Despite the pandemic, JMC continues to provide a fun learning environment where students are able to participate in various extracurricular events and activities, such as INTRAMURALS, English Month, and SMAC culmination, where each and every JMarian is given a chance to showcase their talents, intelligence, and potential in different fields.
So what are you waiting for? Enroll now at JMarians College Foundation Incorporated for an assured, consistent, and quality education. Because your future is our mission.
As the coronavirus killed
the number
more
of
than
people who've
200,000.
contracted the
I can't say it
coronavirus
enough.
continues to grow.
Enough
More than
people have died.
1,600
We don't need any
Americans
more
are
deaths
infected.
like
The
crazy.
virus has come knocking at China.
Fighting the coronavirus.
Spent weeks minimizing what is clearly a very serious problem. No doubt these people have good intentions.
Hello everyone! This pandemic has been a challenge to each and every one of us.
But because of JMarians College, we have experienced successful virtual events like SMAC, English Month, Intramurals, and many more. We are also able to focus on our academics, which were taught by our hardworking and considerate teachers who make and organize our lessons. We have great and amazing years while studying in JMC. Special thanks to our beloved founding president, Pastor Apollo C. Kibuloy, who never failed to show us the importance of education. As years passed, we were in the new norm, but with our prayers, we will be able to get back to normal.
And JMarians College is always ready. Come on!
With our assured, consistent, and quality education, JMC held true its mission to provide the quality of education. In JMC, we make sure that every student will get the best learning experience. But because we still care about your health, JMC has held protocols such as wearing face masks, social distancing, installed alcohols, and of course, everyone should be vaccinated. Despite of what is happening, we continue because JMarians College believes that learning never stops.
Enroll now at
for me, the best part in the school are well-trained teachers because they can easily approach students and teach them some easy methods, and students tend to learn much more if the teachers can get along with them. So I think that's the best part.
For me, pinakagusto kong part sa school is kung may school events kasi it's like a day off, a day without stress for us students. Just having fun for a day with our friends and teachers and other students.
Here in Jose Maria College, I experienced great adjustments since the implementation of the new normal that this pandemic has brought us. And I can say that my routine really changed a lot. The first thing that I learned during this time was to have patience and dedicated to learning. As a student, I feel sad and disappointed because there are many events that we missed, especially going to school with face-to-face interactions and events. But here at JMC, we are coping with time and we are now able to enjoy the same things that we enjoyed pre-pandemic through virtual activities that are made excellently to offer us great experiences. Truly, excellence awaits you here. So, enroll now at JMC.
Performances of the senior high school. Let's proceed to the last but not the least, the digital poster making. The primary purpose of any digital poster is to communicate motives, ideas, products, and vision. They serve as frequent advertisement tools with their application cutting across a wide range of industries. Let's check how the senior high school students showcase their creativity and artistry in digital poster making.
Thank you so much, and that ends our Literary and Multimedia Events 2022. We would like to express our heartfelt gratitude to the founding president of the JMarians College Foundation Incorporated, Reverend Dr. Pastor Apollo C. Kibuloy, the parents, faculty and staff, and of course, the students for all the support. We will announce the result of the different competitions on JMC IBED page.
Bye
and see you next time!